Today I got a story time of when the spoiled kid gets trolled by the subscriber. It's really funny. I know you'll enjoy it. It's a pretty satisfying story, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, leave a like on the video to claim your free nothing, and let's just jump right into it. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Will. So this all started one day. Will was kind of just chilling at school. It was so Will was in high school. He was a junior or senior. He was kind of like an older kid in high school. So we're going to say he's a junior in high school. So this all started one day on what seemed like a normal day when he was just in the cafeteria, just with some of his boys hanging out, talking about whatever, talking about, the girls they almost had, about how the new Fortnite whatever is coming out. This happened back in like 2018, 2019, so that's when Fortnite was kind of popping. I'm just trying to give a little context of what they're probably talking about, as I used to be a 18, 17-year-old, high school kid, so I kind of know how it goes. But it just was a normal day is what I'm trying to really emphasize here. And all of a sudden, so there's another kid I got to explain to you. There's this kid who we're going to call the spoiled kid. This kid was this like a bratty, entitled rich kid. I've made 1,000 freaking stories about spoiled kids, so I don't even need to go into the description about him. You already know what he's like. So anyways, in the corner of the subscriber Will's eye, he sees this kid kind of like coming closer to them, coming towards them. Will and his friends really don't interact with this kid, so it was a little bit weird, and Will, I think, just assumed that, okay, this kid's probably just going to pass us by. But instead, the spoiled rich kid actually comes up to their table. So remember, they're sitting in the cafeteria. And so the subscriber, Will, has this glass of, let's just say, like a Coke or something, because I had a soda machine at the high school cafeteria. So he had a big glass of Coke. He didn't drink most of it. I don't know, it was the very beginning of lunch, so most of it was still full. And so the spoiled rich kid comes over to them. And then, so he didn't bump into the glass of Coke, like he didn't walk by it, because like I could totally see if like the glass of Coke was on the very edge of the table and the spoiled rich kid just happened to like, I don't know, walk by the table and a little bit of him just happened to tip over the glass. No. The glass was very clearly in the table, like it wasn't on the edges. And also, the spoiled rich kid didn't bump into the glass of Coke with, like, his, like, side of his body or something, or, like, clipped it with his arm. He literally came over, swung with his, like, fist, basically. Dude made a big sweeping motion to knock over and spill intentionally the glass of Coke all over not just the subscriber, but everyone else at the table. And he goes, oops, sorry, guys, and he keeps walking. Like, here's the thing. If you accidentally bump into, like, someone's stuff like that, it's tough. I've done it. People have done it to me. It happens. Like, you bump into someone, you knock something over. As long as okay, even if it looks intentional, it might not have been intentional. But what you got to do in this situation is you got to immediately say, sorry, and then at least attempt to help clean it up, right? You got to at least try and show that you actually are sorry and that you didn't mean to do it, and try and help clean up the spill or the situation. And 9 out of 10 times you should be cool. You should be cool with that, unless the guy or girl that you did this to by accident is just like has no chill, then maybe you won't be good. But the spoiled rich kid here literally just bumps into, and very intentionally, it's so obvious, by the way, I was told that it was super obvious that it was on purpose, just knocks over the Coke, spills it on everyone, and then just keeps walking by. So at this point, the subscriber Will is like, dude, and he kind of turns to his friends like, what was that? Yeah, so they kind of all sit at the table and they're kind of just like, what was that? Like, genuinely, what was that? Like, that was ridiculous, right? And Will's like, dude, like that freaking kid has been annoying for like our entire lives here. That kid has always been a problem. He's always been a jerk to us, and I'm done. I'm done with it. Like, I've had it. So they kind of sit there and they kind of talk about it for a second, and Will is kind of fuming. Like, Will does admit that he held a grudge, and in general, it's not really great to hold a grudge. You could be putting your mental energy and physical energy probably into other stuff. When you hold a grudge, I don't know. It's like, what was that saying? Like, when revenge or whatever is like, you're digging their grave as well as yours. I don't know. Sometimes it makes sense, but a lot of cases, it's probably just not worth it. Will does admit that what he is going to do, which is actually pretty insane. Just so you guys know, I do not endorse what Will is about to do, and Will has said to me that he now regrets what he has done because it's kind of messed up. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And a lot of these stories, because I'm really hyping this up because you need to genuinely know, this is actually kind of messed up. So in a lot of these stories, Well, a lot of the times, whatever happens to the spoiled rich kid, I'm like, haha, like, yes, come up and served. Karma is real. I don't know if this is I don't know if this is eye for an eye justice. I think this is like eye for shotgun to the face justice, bro. This is not even. So yeah, let's just jump right into exactly what happened. So I stop hyping it up and I can just tell you, but just be warned, it's pretty intense. Anyways, so they're at the table and the rest of Will's friends who are still kind of cleaning up, and one kid had like a white shirt or whatever, so he got all these Coke stains on it. It sucks, right? It sucks. But they all kind of are just like, okay, this kid's annoying. If he comes near us again, I'll stick my foot out and try and trip him when he has a tray of food or something. Like, we'll get him back somehow. But Will, the subscriber, was not having it because this kid's been annoying forever. And for some reason, Will tells me he was just on something. Like, he was just on, like, some like, bro, he doesn't even know why he was so mad then. Probably just, angsty teenage hormones or something. I don't freaking know, dude. So yeah, sure enough, he kind of doesn't explain that Will doesn't explain to his friends that he's still super like PO'd about the whole situation, but in his head, he's just stewing. And for the rest of that Friday, he is stewing. So there is something good, though, that they're all looking forward to. Probably the reason why Will and his friends are or not Will, I should say Will's friends are not taking it that seriously is, one, it's a Friday, so good day, right? Look, it doesn't matter. Fridays will always be magical in a sense, bro. I love the feeling of a good Friday. But also, there was a party happening in their kind of neighborhood, so they had something to look forward to. So it wasn't even just a normal Friday. It was a Friday with a little extra. So they were all in a good mood, and the spoiled kid wasn't able to stop them from such. However, at this party, something pretty ridiculous happens. Yeah, so anyways, right, the subscriber and his friends, or the subscriber is kind of just sitting there, like, stewing for the rest of class. And eventually, bell rings, and so the subscriber lives pretty close. Like, they all live in walking distance away. The school is in their neighborhood, so at least the subscriber, Will, and his friends, they don't take the bus. They just walk back. So they're walking back, and Will's friends are like, oh, like, the party at so-and-so's house is going to be so crazy, like, how long do you think it's going to go up before, like, neighbors call the police and get shut down? And, they were kind of making bets about this. Like, they were expecting a Project X type, like, insane party type thing. They're all pretty excited, too. It's been, like, a long weekend. It's also been a while since any of the kids there had a party. So the way it worked, a little bit of side lore for this story is, like, there was obviously no, party sponsored by parents. So basically every couple weeks or maybe once a month, like a kid would be like, yo, I'm having a party at my house. Like, you guys come. And whoever had like hosted the party would receive like an enormous amount of clout at their school. It was almost a little bit of a sacrifice for some popularity. It was very weird. I'm just trying to explain it to you. It's almost like a sacrifice for popularity because like whoever hosted the party would have an enormous spike in their popularity, respect, clout, whatever you want to call it, at their high school. However, there has not been a single party that has gone down that has not gone out of control, and way too many people show up, and way too many people are allowed, the cops are called, and then the kid's like grounded for a year, right? So it really is kind of like a self-sacrifice for clout at high school, which is not a great trade-off, but I'm just trying to explain how it is. So there hadn't been a party in almost a month and a half at that point, and I think a lot of the kids were like starting to be like, oh shoot, is no one going to do another one? But then this kid who we're just going to call Timmy, because not super useful, Timmy is not super useful in the story. It just doesn't really matter. Anyways, like Timmy was not the most popular kid by far, and I think he always wanted to be like respected and cool, and so he's like, yeah guys, we're going to have a crazy rager. My parents are out of town, so yeah, there's going to be a party. And most definitely it's going to be shut down and Timmy's going to be like grounded for a millennia from his parents or with his parents, right? But either way, so they're talking about that as they're walking back, and Will's friends kind of notice that Will's kind of out of it because Will is very focused on thinking about, or he's just very upset with the spoiled kid. He's just very upset about it. So Will's friends notice this. They kind of look over. They're like, dude, like, what are you stewing about? Like, what's up? He's like, oh, dude, I'm nothing. They're like, yeah, what's up? He's like, fine. Okay, well, I don't like what the spoiled kid did to us today. Like, that's still making me mad. And Will's friends are like, dude, like, okay, like, yeah, he sucks. He's the worst. You know what? Today at the party, we'll go up to him. We'll spill his drink on him, say, oops, sorry, man, and then walk away. Eye for an eye, right? And Will's like, yeah, I guess. Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm happy with that. But in reality, Will was not happy with that. Will was starting to scheme and put together an even crazier plan that you guys just have to wait and hear. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment party down below in the comment section. That'll be the secret word of the day so I can see how many people made it this far. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on and left a like on this video. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, which, by the way, YouTube listeners, I post all of these on Spotify. If you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure that you have rated the podcast 5 stars. You follow the podcast with notifications on. And also, for every podcast episode, such as this one, there's a little question that will pop up. Make sure to answer those. If there's a poll, please answer the poll. Actually, I think it does. I'm not 100% sure, but I've talked to my Spotify rep. I think it actually does help with the promotion if you guys engage with those polls and questions. So please do me a favor if you're listening on Spotify. Check to make sure that you've answered the poll, answered the question, all that good stuff. With that being said, let's get right back to it because, yeah, Will's about to go way too far. Just one more time, I gotta say, I don't necessarily endorse what he's doing. The spoiled kid is a jerk. He sucks, right? He deserves something coming to him, but I don't necessarily know if I can go as far as to say that I endorse what the spoiled kid here did. Anyways, I've been hyping this up a lot, so let's just jump to the actual, let's jump into the action. So yeah, sure enough, right, this is not the spoiled kid, sorry, Will, he's back at his house. He's just playing some, he's on his, Xbox or whatever, playing Fortnite. Remember, this happened in 2018, 2019. So he's just playing a little bit of Fortnite. Solo, normally he'll play with his friends, but, he knows he's going to see them tonight. Sitting in his room, stewing. Once again, he's stewing. But this time, it's not just him angrily stewing. It's him productively angrily stewing. Because he's putting together a master plan for revenge. And so eventually, he has dinner with his parents, just plays a little bit more Fortnite. It's around 8:30. The party's supposed to start around 9, and it's walking distance away. And also, he was told, the kid who was running it, Timmy was basically gave a little question, or he texted people being like, yo, this is when the party starts. You're in group C or group F or group A. That wasn't the best people A, worst people F. It was basically to spread people coming in, which is actually kind of smart. Timmy, I'll give you a little, a spoiler if I don't say this at the end because it's not super important. Yeah, Timmy did get caught and got in a ton of trouble, but Timmy was at least smart about it because other times, people would all come at once and the party would be shut down immediately because it was super obvious, but Timmy at least was smart enough to be all right, you're in Group B, everyone in Group B come at 8:45, okay, you're in Group C, everyone in Group C walk over at 9. So basically, he staggered the waves of people coming, which is actually pretty smart. Anyways, so let's skip ahead to the time that the subscriber Will pulls up to the party. Pulls up, Timmy meets him at the door. Timmy's like, hey, man, how's it going? And, Will's like, hey, how's it going, bro? Timmy's like, great, come in. Timmy's like, I don't know if you guys have ever had to work a party before. I'm probably revealing too much, but let me just give you the sauce. If for some reason you decide to host a party, or your friend hosts a party and they can't handle it and you need to help them, you almost always need someone working door, basically controlling how many people come in and come out. I'm just saying stuff I shouldn't be saying. I don't endorse you guys to host any secret parties, but what I'm saying is if you get stuck in a situation like this, let me help you out. So you got to control door because if you have a party and you have a lot of drinks or whatever, the address will probably get leaked. I don't know if it's going to be sent officially out, but random people you don't know are likely going to come, especially if you're hosting more than 20 people. Because if it's a party 4 people, random people aren't going to show up. Or they might, but it's unlikely. But there's 20 plus people. Look, people are going to start to show up. A lot of them, some of them could really be trouble. People are going to steal stuff. So someone's got to manage door. Someone's got to manage to flow in and out. And also, if cops come to the door, someone's got to be there. You can't have some random some idiot show up, right? It's got to be you. All right, that's enough. You guys understand how it goes. Anyways, though, so, Timmy's at the door, and Will shows up. He's like, hey, how's it going? So Will walks in, and he kind of, there's probably about 50 people there. So Timmy's already way over his head. Will could already see at the door that Timmy is kind of sweating. And Will finds his friends. He's like, hey, like, what's up, guys? And they're like, hey, like, you're done. Are you done, like, stewing about the thing happening today? And Will's like, yeah, man, I don't really care. I think I was just in a bad mood, but how can I be in a bad mood now? Reality was, Will wasn't stewing. He was just now plotting. He's moved on from plotting to stewing, man. So, I have to introduce another character. The spoiled rich kid also had a sister. Yep, I think you know where this is going now. I'm playing. Wait, give me a second. So anyways, the spoiled rich kid had a sister. So let's give her a name. Let's call her Ava, right? So Ava was the sister of the spoiled rich kid. Ava was fairly popular. I mean, she found her way to this party, and Will knew that she was going to be at this party too. So anyways, Will was a fairly charming man, as he described himself, so it could be complete cap, but I can't really control that. But I was told, and by the way, Will submitted this story to me on Instagram, so if you want to submit your own stories from your childhood or what's going on now in your life, right, or a friend's story, go to Instagram, look up connorpugs, follow me, and then message me via DM. You have to follow me to DM me. Anyways, though, so sure enough, let's set the scene. Will was standing there with his boys, and the spoiled rich kid was standing over, was sitting on the couch with, talking to some girl or something, right? Being like, oh, yes, no, my father does run the biggest hedge fund in the U.S., blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, sure enough, the subscriber, Will, and his friends are standing, huddling in a circle. Rich kid is on the couch, talking to some girl or something. And then there's kind of like a drink table, and almost like there's like an unofficial bartender, which, first of all, you need someone actually managing that stuff. You just can't have it laying around. I don't know why I'm giving you guys the tutorial. I should make a course. How to run a house party. I'm playing. I'm not even the most I'm definitely not the most qualified. I'm just giving you the advice I've seen where it's gone wrong for other people. Definitely not me. Never. But yeah, so Will, the subscriber, is kind of standing with his friends, and he looks over at Ava. Remember, this is the sister of the spoiled rich kid. And he looks back, and he's like back with his group of friends, and Will looks over again, and this time Will makes eye contact with Ava, and Will is definitely more, as he says to me, this could be complete cap, but he says he has a way with ladies, which sounds so cap, but for the sake of the story, let's take it as face value. By the way, sorry, Will, I'm not trying to doubt you. It's just the way you say it. But he looks over at Ava, then looks back. And this time he made eye contact with her. And there's a little, eye contact is kind of hard to tell when it comes to this stuff. Like, if I'm being real, it is a little bit difficult to make an assessment just off of one eye contact alone. But Will kind of got a sense that, there's a little something going on. A little flirt in her eyes, right? And this time when Will looks back at his friends, one of his friends, we'll call him Ben, kind of catches on. So Ben kind of gives him this look, kind of gives him a look of what are you up to there, bud? And kind of comes over and kind of moves places because they're kind of standing in a circle. They got a drink in one hand, other hand is on their pocket or looking at their phone or whatever. So Ben walks over, so he's right next to Will, so they're kind of side by side. And he kind of whispers over, he's like, I see you looking over at Ava over there. What are you thinking? And Will looks at him. It literally just winks. He's like, wink, and then goes back to talking. So at this point, right, Ben catches on pretty quickly about what Will's about to do. Because Ben was sitting at the table too. And then, at this point, Ben was just like, oh, I see. So anyways, Will looks at his friends and says, excuse me for a minute, I'll be right back. He gets up, turns, and basically beelines it straight to Ava, right? Walks right over. Because, you make eye contact for the second time, kind of gives you a little look. That's at least an indication to at least make an attempt to go over there. At least kind of find yourself over there. So Will walks over there. And remember, this is all happening when the spoiled rich kid is on the couch. And so he walks over, and very quickly, so Ava was standing with one of her friends, and very quickly Ava's friend gets up and leaves. As if, Ava's friend was like, oh, this is her time to shine. Because here's the thing, if Ava's friend stayed there, which she could have totally, and it would have been fine, but if Ava's friend stayed there and almost, blocked, Ben from, or not, sorry, Ben, blocked Will from, talking to her, then maybe that's an indication that she has literally no she's not interested. But the fact that Ava's friend got up and left immediately doesn't necessarily mean anything 100%, but it's definitely a positive indication, and Will knew this. So he was going to run with the momentum. So Will was kind of talking to her, doing his thing, right? So I can't really go into the exact details, not because they're like not safe for work or something. It's just kind of hard to explain. It's hard to kind of explain a lot of things you just kind of know. What I'm trying to say is, so Will was talking with her, and it was very clear that she was interested. It was just, you could kind of tell, and Will could tell. A lot of body language, a lot of ways she was responding, a lot of the ways that she was moving. And it was very kind of like, it's a little bit of a dance, right? I mean, not an actual dance, but you guys know what I mean. So the music's kind of loud. It's, a lot of people are there. It's like very much party scene. And it's very clear that they're both interested in each other. And while this is happening, the spoiled rich kid is like looking from the couch because he's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, that's my sister, right? So anyways, yeah, sure enough, Will, man just has all the riz in the world, I guess, because eventually they're talking, and yeah, sure enough, one thing leads to another, and Will basically starts making out with this girl, which has been his plan since day one, right? Not day one, but since the spoiled rich kid bumped into him. So when this happens, you hear, whoa, and so, like, the spoiled rich kid gets off the couch and, like, walks over. He's like, what are you doing? At this point, Ava, like, breaks whatever thing they have going on, looks over at her brother, is like, what are you doing? Like, why are you yelling at me? And the spoiled rich kid's like, well, you're not allowed to, like, to make out with this guy. And, like, at this point, Will is kind of just standing there, like, okay, what, are we, like, good friends or something? Like, I don't think so. And Ava's like, why? Are you guys, like, super good friends? And the spoiled rich kid's like, well, and Will looks at her and shakes his head no. And the spoiled rich kid's like, turns to Will's like, dude, you better leave my sister alone. I swear to God. And Will's like, what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, bro? And at this point, it's just such a weird situation. So Will's friends walk over to make sure that there isn't a big altercation, because if it was just a spoiled rich kid and Will, he might have tried to take a swing on Will. And Will was probably not going to take that sitting down, and Will's friends knew that. So they had to go over and make sure things were going to be okay. So they all kind of walk over and they're like, all right, gentlemen, let's separate this. And the spoiled rich kid's like, no, I'm not going to let him get away with this. And, Ava at this point, his sister, is like, get away with what? Like, am I not allowed to, like, talk to the boys I like to? Like, are you really that controlling over me? And the spoiled rich kid's like, no, it's not that. It's just, I know what he's doing. Like, he's doing this despite me. And Will, who totally was, by the way, looks at the spoiled rich kid and is like, dude, like, what are you even talking about? He's like, I bumped into your stuff and spilled today at lunch, I spilled all that stuff all over you. And Will's like, oh, that wasn't an accident, man? I thought that was an accident. The spoiled rich kid's like, no, of course it wasn't. I was just trying to mess with you, dude. And, Will's like, oh, man, I thought that was an accident. No, this is totally unrelated. Totally. And Will just makes this really deep eye contact with the spoiled rich kid. Like, after saying totally, just looks at him for a second. And in this eye contact, the spoiled rich kid realizes that, no, Will is doing this on purpose. Because not only does Will pause while making eye contact, he kind of has a little bit of a smirk. At this point, the spoiled rich kid, like, almost, like, tries to pounce on him. He's like, just starts, like, moving towards Will. And Will's friends are like, whoa, starts pushing him back. And Ava's screaming, like, get away from me. Like, I can do what I want. And Will, at this point, is just sitting back and smiling. He has to hold back laughing because this went so much better than he thought. So at this point, a bunch of other kids are coming over to kind of figure out what's going on. And they're like, what's going on? And Ava's like, my brother's attacking this guy just because, I want to, like, hang out with I want to hang out with guys. And he's being overprotective and all that kind of stuff. Spoiler rich kid's like, this kid's getting with my sister. Like, I can't let that happen. And the guys are like, what, are you guys, like, boys or something? He's like, well, no. And they're like, dude, like, who cares? And they're like, Will has done this perfectly. Remember, is this something I would do personally? Nah. I don't suggest you guys do it either. However, it was executed perfectly. So anyways, and also, Will didn't necessarily have long-term plans with the spoiled rich kid sister because, Ava actually wasn't that cool either. Like, she had a lot of tendencies of the spoiled rich kid too. So yeah, Will was kind of using her a little bit. I'm just going to be straight up with how it is. I'm just going to tell you how it is. That's another reason I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. I do feel that is a good story, though. So anyways, Will eventually is like, hey, like, to Ava, hey, I think I'm going to go back early. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of tired. I don't know if I'm vibing at the party. She's like, I know you're leaving because my brother is being so weird. Like, I hope we can talk later. And Will's like, yeah, no, of course we can talk later. So Will goes over to his boys. He's like, look, I'm heading back. So Ben is like, I'm heading back too. Let me walk back with you. So Will and Ben, they go to the door, and you can see that Timmy is kind of at the door, like, frantically, like, no, I don't know who you are, you can't come in, and people just, like, walk in anyways, and he's like, guys, we gotta calm down. Thing is completely gotten out of control, and Ben and Will go to the door, and Will's like, dude, peace, thanks so much for the party, it was awesome. And Timmy's like, yeah, dude, sure, whatever. And they walk out the door, so they're walking back home, which is probably about the right time to walk out anyways, because probably 10, 15 minutes before the whole thing goes boom and cops come in or something. So Will, the subscriber, and Ben, they're walking back. And Ben's like, so did you plan that whole thing, like when we're walking back from school today? Was that what you were thinking about? And Will doesn't respond. He just kind of, he laughs a little bit. He's like, and he kind of smiles. And Ben's like, it's like, wow. I mean, I didn't see that coming from you, Will. Will just kind of laughs again. He's like, yeah, you know. And Ben's like, I better not mess with you.